Can I get you, Steve, to tell us a little bit about the progress of the talks and how close you think we are to a deal?
Sure. First of all, thank you. Kellyanne, thanks for having me. You can't say no to Kellyanne. She asked me last night to be here, but it's an easy one because I have many friends here, including my new friend David. First of all, thank you. I think we've made a lot of progress. I think in the beginning of this process, there was a little bit of confusion. I was going to Moscow quite a bit, but I think it was important that we go there because we're at the end now, and I actually am optimistic. I spent the evening with David last night, with General Budanov, who's now Vice President Budanov, and Rustem. They've been amazing, by the way. To the Ukrainian people here, you have an amazing negotiating team. We spent a lot of time together. I don't know how much, but it could be 100 hours together since Geneva. It's literally that comprehensive. And I think we've got it down to one issue, and we have discussed iterations of that issue, and that means it's solvable. So if both sides want to solve this, we're going to get it solved. That's my view. And I told the president that last night. And last night, Mark, I think, and it informs on this, the president sent out the tweet. We had a great meeting about NATO, about the European-American alliance, which informs on this conflict too, I think, as we discussed. So I feel encouraged. David, you're great to work with. And Rustem, and by the way, I want to mention President Zelensky because he's been on this issue. He's available, he's accessible. Whenever there's a need to call him to get a steer, we get on the phone with him. And of course, as everyone knows with President Trump, just as he said yesterday, Mark, with you, when we were talking about direct negotiations, he said, well, can I handle the negotiation directly?
Would love to, right?
So the president is always accessible as well, just the way he is. So we're off to Moscow tonight. We're not staying over. We're going right to Abu Dhabi. That's an important data point because in Abu Dhabi will be the working groups, military to military, prosperity. Jared and I talk all the time about the importance of prosperity, and of course we have what I would regard as the best-in-class prosperity advisor on the team, and that's Larry Fink.
Yes.
And Larry was good enough to volunteer for the job. I volunteered for the last 11 months, so why shouldn't Larry volunteer? And Jared as well, by the way. He's now a volunteer as well. President Trump is very good at saving money, David, okay? He gets us all for free. And you do too now. So, but prosperity is really big. All night long, we spent at dinner last night talking about the upward trajectory for the Ukrainian economy and financial system. Capital markets, the jobs. The president has talked about a tariff-free zone from Ukraine that I think would be game-changing. You'll see industry move into that area in a huge way. Imagine you get to outcompete because you're not paying tariffs and sending goods into the United States. So there's some huge things that we've talked about that the Ukrainian people deserve because they have been so courageous in this fight. And they're under some real difficult conditions today. And I am completely empathetic on behalf of the president and our administration to that. And that's part of why we're going to Moscow, to have that discussion about how we end this thing and how we make it better for your people. So with that, I'll turn it back to the panel, and I'll thank you for allowing me to be here today and make some remarks. And I want you to know that this is the most important endeavor that Jared and I have. We are tasked with doing everything possible to get this solved, and with the president's indomitable spirit and President Zelensky's indomitable spirit, because I'm pretty sure that he feels as President Trump does, this is time to end this. I think we're going to get it done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was incredibly valuable to hear literally from the negotiators' mouth where things stand. Let me go next to the Prime Minister of Belgium. One of the ways that Europe can demonstrate that it is serious about confronting the challenge from Russia would be, it would seem to me, confiscating Russian sovereign assets. This is an easy demonstration of European will. It does set a precedent, there's no question, and it feels to me that the precedent it sets is if you ruthlessly and aggressively invade your neighbor, violate international law, and commit war crimes, your money is now not safe. Why is that not happening? You know I asked this because the government of Belgium has had a somewhat complicated stance on this issue.
So now I know why you invited me. It's a very nice question. It's of course a very sensitive topic. I think first and foremost I want to say it's Europe's obligation to finance Ukraine, and we did. Europe will never win beauty prizes for the way it takes decisions, but at the end of the day there is a result, 90 billion to finance Ukraine this year and next year. So we got a solution. It went unnoticed, but we also decided that the Russian central bank money, the immobilized assets, not the frozen assets, the immobilized assets, most of which are in Belgium, in the clearinghouse Euroclear, are immobilized for an indefinite period. This is a very important decision because, of course, you cannot just take somebody's money. We're not at war with Russia. Europe is not at war with Russia. You cannot simply confiscate money. That is an act of war. You shouldn't underestimate it. It has never happened in history. Immobilized money, even during the Second World War, was never confiscated. It would be the very first time that that would happen in history, and that would have grave consequences for Europe, for the belief, the trust in the financial system, for the Eurozone. It is not to be underestimated. There's no such thing as free money. Anything that sounds simple in reality is very complicated. And it went unnoticed, but we immobilized indefinitely. It is no longer depending on the sanctions that we have to prolong every 6 months. And we all know that not everybody at the European table, Europe is not a country, it's not a superstate with a supreme leader, it is a confederation. Everybody needs to agree. And we all know a difficult truth, some European countries are not so pro-Ukrainian. Some might, at some stage, say we do no longer want to prolong sanctions, and then immediately you have to release those assets. Now, if you take assets, confiscate them, spend them, and at a certain moment in time you have to repay them, then you have a big problem. So I think we took a very good decision. The financing of Ukraine is there, and the assets will be immobilized until the end of the war, which means that, as it always went in history, when there will be a peace deal, the assets will be on the table. And let me be very clear about that. At that moment, if I have my way and I have a say in this, every penny of that money will be used for the repayment and the reconstruction of Ukraine. I would be very sad to see €1 return to Moscow. But we have to respect international law. It will happen at that moment. And between that moment and now, Europe will finance the war in Ukraine as we should do, because they are fighting